In the last video, I showed you guys how I got into making my first game and got some very basic systems set in place that in this video I realized were not good and spent days fixing them. In today's video, I overhauled everything from adding a start screen and an end screen, the ability to die, a health system, implementing a cannon spawn system, and much more. Picking up where we left off last time, I wanted to expand upon the cannon system because I didn't want to have to individually place cannons along the walls and manually edit each one to do what I wanted, though I planned on making them spawn randomly. This seemed like a simple task. All I needed to do was add some random numbers, translate those in a set of coordinates for the cannon to spawn on, and then actually spawn the cannon there. But this task was anything from simple. When I first tried to implement this, the cannon spawned in the completely wrong direction. When I tried fixing this, I had to learn what a quaternion is and how to implement them in a script. After figuring out the rotation issue of the objects, it didn't fix well This problem stumped me and I couldn't figure out what was actually happening. It actually stumped me so bad that I had to take a multiple day break just because I almost gave up on this whole project because of it. After my little break, I came back and figured out what the issue was. The cannon was spawning out of bounds and moving so fast at some points where it would go out of bounds, causing it to bug out like this. It took a while to fix this issue because I had to rework the movement script of the cannon and I had to rework the spawning script of the cannon. But in the end, I did create a system that I was pretty happy with. Before I continue on with updates about the game, I thought I should officially announce the name because I haven't done so yet in a video. Though, if you are in the Discord, link in the description, you already know what the name of the game is. And for those of you who don't know, it's called Project Dodge. I plan on changing this to something else later, but for now, this is what you'll hear me call it. After the fun experience of the cannon debacle, I moved on to something that was a little bit simpler and started working on the health system. This system was quite a bit simpler than the cannon system, as all I needed to do was set a variable to the amount of health that I wanted the player to have and assign it to the player. On the topic of health, I also added the ability for the player to take damage and die. Next, I need to add a screen for when the player gets into the game and a screen for when the player dies. Side note, working with UI and Unity is quite annoying and it took me a while to actually figure out how to use it. Anyways, I started by creating a simple start screen with a play button that would transfer the player to the game scene and added a delay between the cannons first spawning so the player had a chance to spawn and not get immediate. I also started working on the basic layout and idea for what the start screen was going to look like. I'll go over that later when I actually implement it though. Then I needed to add an end screen for when the player ran out of health. So I made a simple end screen with a restart button, an upgrade button, and a main menu button. For now, the only button that actually works is the restart button, but I'll add functionality to the others later. The last thing I did through this period was start learning to 3D model so I could finally stop looking at a skin colored cube on a neon green background with a blue cannon flying across the screen. Now this was not an easy process and I almost didn't even add it to this video because I was really close to giving up and just using pre-made assets because god dang is it hard to 3D model. It took me 10 tutorials to figure out what in the world was going on in Blender and my first 3D model looked like this. I don't know about you, but this is nightmare fuel. Like something straight out of Poppy Playtime. After creating that horrific monster, I was going to take another try at creating a player model, but it turned into me creating a cannon model and I ended up really liking how it turned out. The texture may change in the future, but I genuinely like how it turned out. After this, I designed the floor and am working on other assets that will be implemented in another video. To wrap things up, I figured what better way to stay motivated than streaming my third attempt at creating a player model. I won't spoil too much, but you could feel free to watch the VOD on my livestream page if you're curious, but let's just say there were some interesting results along the way. In the end though, I managed to whip up something that will work for now. To wrap up everything I've added so far, I figured it'd be a great idea to experiment with lighting. Spoiler alert, I nearly broke the entire project doing this, but in the end, I'm happy with how it turned out. The darkness adds a nice eeriness to the game, and the light blue lights kind of adds a nice sci-fi feel. In the next video, I plan on adding a new system that I haven't talked about yet, doing a deep dive into the UI, and adding some new cannon variants. Also, I want to start implementing new levels and aspects of the story. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I plan on adding a small story to the game. If you have any ideas that I should add or just want to critique mine, then make sure to leave a comment, and while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!